The South China Sea, a vast expanse of water studded with islands, reefs and shoals, is far more than just a body of water. It is a maritime crossroads of immense geopolitical and economic importance. Its strategic location, nestled between the Pacific and Indian Oceans, makes it a vital artery for global trade. Trillions of dollars worth of goods, including energy supplies, traverse its waters annually. Beneath the surface lies a wealth of natural resources, including vast reserves of oil and natural gas. This has transformed the South China Sea into a flashpoint for territorial disputes, with overlapping claims by China and several Southeast Asian nations. For China, the South China Sea represents a crucial maritime frontier. Beijing's expansive claims have raised alarm bells among its neighbors and the international community. These claims, often depicted on Chinese maps using the controversial 9-dash line, challenge the established rules-based maritime order. The United States, as a Pacific power, has emerged as a vocal critic of China's assertive actions. The escalating tensions in the South China Sea are not merely a regional concern. They reflect a broader geopolitical dynamic, a struggle for power and influence between China and the United States. As China seeks to assert its dominance, the South China Sea has become a testing ground for its growing military might and diplomatic clout. The stakes are high, and the outcome of this maritime dispute will have profound implications for the future of the region and the world. Tensions in the South China Sea escalated dramatically in recent weeks as a Chinese coastguard vessel used a water cannon against a Philippine coastguard ship. The incident, which took place on a date of the incident, occurred near location of the incident, a disputed shoal within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, EEZ. The Philippine Coast Guard ship was on a mission to resupply a small contingent of Filipino Marines stationed on a grounded World War II-era warship, the BRP Sierra Madre, which serves as a symbol of Manila's claim to the area. China, which claims the shoal as part of its expansive territorial assertions in the South China Sea, condemned the Philippine resupply mission as a provocation. Beijing insists that the Philippines is violating its sovereignty by maintaining a presence on the shoal, which it calls Renai Reef. The use of a water cannon, a dangerous and aggressive tactic, marked a significant escalation in China's efforts to assert control over the disputed waters. The incident drew swift condemnation from the Philippines and its international partners, who accused China of violating international law and endangering the safety of the Philippine crew. Philippine President, name of the Philippine President, denounced the attack as barbaric and vowed to defend the country's sovereign rights in the South China Sea. The United States, Australia, Japan and several European nations expressed serious concerns over China's actions, urging Beijing to exercise restraint and resolve maritime disputes peacefully through dialogue. The confrontation at location of the incident is the latest in a series of increasingly assertive actions by China in the South China Sea. In recent years, Beijing has deployed its maritime militia, coast guard and navy to harass and intimidate vessels from the Philippines and other claimant states. These actions have raised fears of a potential miscalculation or accident that could spark a wider conflict in the region, with potentially devastating consequences for all involved. China's recent actions in the South China Sea represent a calculated challenge to the regional order and the established rules-based maritime system. By deploying its Coast Guard and maritime militia to assert its expansive claims, Beijing is testing the resolve of its neighbors and the international community. The use of force, even in the form of water cannons, is a clear violation of international law and sets a dangerous precedent for future disputes. China's assertiveness in the South China Sea is driven by a complex mix of strategic, economic and nationalist motivations. Strategically, control over the waterway is seen as crucial for securing China's maritime trade routes, energy supplies and access to fishing grounds. Economically, the South China Sea is believed to hold vast reserves of oil and natural gas, making it a potentially lucrative prize. Nationalistically, the South China Sea has become a rallying point for Chinese patriotism, with Beijing portraying its claims as a matter of national sovereignty and historical right. The Chinese Communist Party has successfully whipped up nationalist sentiment over the South China Sea issue, using it to bolster its legitimacy at home and project strength abroad. However, China's aggressive tactics are counterproductive and risk isolating Beijing diplomatically. Its actions have alienated its Southeast Asian neighbors, many of whom are now strengthening their own maritime defenses and seeking closer security ties with the United States and other extra-regional powers. The international community has responded to China's aggressive actions in the South China Sea with a chorus of condemnation and calls for restraint. The United States, as a Pacific power with a vested interest in maintaining freedom of navigation, has been particularly vocal in its criticism. Washington has conducted freedom of navigation operations, FONOPs, in the South China Sea, challenging China's excessive maritime claims and demonstrating its commitment to upholding international law. The United States has also strengthened its security partnerships with countries in the region, including the Philippines, Vietnam, and Japan, providing them with military aid and conducting joint exercises to enhance their maritime domain awareness and defense capabilities. Washington's actions are seen as a clear signal to Beijing that its aggressive behavior will not be tolerated, and that the international community is prepared to defend the rules-based order in the Indo-Pacific. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, a regional bloc that includes several claimant states in the South China Sea, has also expressed concern over China's actions. While ASEAN has been divided on how to respond to China's assertiveness, the bloc has repeatedly called for a peaceful resolution to the disputes based on international law, including the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS. The international community's response to China's actions demonstrates a growing consensus that Beijing's behavior is unacceptable and that its expansive maritime claims are without legal basis. The pressure is mounting on China to change course and engage in meaningful dialogue to resolve the disputes peacefully.